Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry we are a bit late today. My own tech difficulties. So glad to have everyone here. I'm Ashley Caudill, CEO and founder of Prowess Project, and y'all, the long-awaited event that we have been, or I have definitely been waiting for. Today we are talking about sales, and I know that is a very, 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 very tricky subject for so many people. So the reason why I'm so excited about our guest today is because I saw her speak for her very first speaking session. And she said she was nervous. I had no idea. And she just brought so much value to everyone in the audience. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to have Justine on our show. So without further ado, I am thrilled. Hello, Justine, how are you?
Hello, I am doing so well. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Oh my gosh, no. Like I said, the second that I saw you on that panel, I was like, oh my gosh, our ops people would just die to get inside of your brain when it comes to everything sales. So the way that we start all of these is first, just tell us, give us the quick overview of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, there's kind of two stories behind it. One is the journey of entrepreneurship, which I started when I was 5 years old, selling tickets to puppet shows in my backyard, and always had this desire, being raised by a single mom, seeing my maternal grandmother run businesses of her own and real estate ventures and things. I had these really beautiful examples of what it looked like to kind of find your own way, carve your own path, make your money yourself, and not be financially, codependent on anyone else, which felt important to me, but had to take a little detour and go into corporate and startups for a bit to get the paycheck because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, like everybody else, And then there's the side with sales where I went to college, and because I had a single mom, have a mom who was a single mom raising me, and we just didn't have a lot of money. So I really had my heart set, and you'll learn this more about me as we continue to build our relationship. I am a very stubborn person. And when I have my heart set on something, I'm doing it. And there's no talking me out of it, which makes me a great salesperson because I cannot be outsold once I get my clutches into something. And so there was this private university that I was like, I'm going there. I love the campus. I love the professors. I see myself at the school. I visualized it. I applied early action, got in. And then they were like, yeah, it's really expensive here. And I was like, whatever, I'll get 5 jobs, which I did at a time. I worked 5 jobs in college, and one of them was a sales job, which I did not want to take. I was not interested in sales at all, but I had asked around and I said, what's the highest paying job? And everyone said, well, sales, because you can earn commission and it's uncapped and you make your own way, basically. And that was my first real taste of entrepreneurship and sales, and I was horrible at it. I got on the phones. I sat in this dingy basement that just smelled like mold and old crackers and fish in the microwave. It was terrible. And they put us on these headsets, and this was way before all the technology that we have today. So it was a headset plugged into a very old computer with like dial-up internet. And I'm on this computer and it's calling and calling and calling, and I'm just being ignored. And then someone would finally pick up and I'd be like, yes, this is my time to shine. And then I would read the script and they would hang up on me or say really mean things to me, and nothing was happening. And I'm like, I thought this was supposed to be a really well-paying job, and I am making no money in commission. Like, this is not the way. And then, because I was the most responsible out of a room of 20-year-olds, my supervisor left the room and said, Justine, you're the most responsible. I'm going to leave you in charge. And I got on the phone, and I'll never forget. I was talking to this man. He was an older gentleman, probably in his 70s. He had never bought anything given to the school. It was a fundraising job. So it was sales, but not really. And I had this great conversation with him for like 10, 15 minutes. We get to the end of the conversation, and I said, so I know you've never given before, but I really have to ask, would you be willing to donate $25 today? Started at the base commitment. And he paused for a second, and he said, no. And my heart kind of broke, and I was like, I thought I did so well. Like, what happened? And I paused because I was sitting with it. And then he said, I'm going to give you 50. And then everything turned out. It was a very emotional roller coaster type of experience. I was like, 50. Oh my gosh, I'm amazing at sales. And then everything shifted. And I started being put on these donor lists where people were giving thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. I was like running parties. I was getting all these commissions. I was making so much money. And I was just like, I love sales. And then I got a job in retail, and I closed 50 credit card accounts in a month. And the district manager came to our store to be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, how are you closing all these credit cards? It's so easy. You just do this. And I just walked him through, and he walked everybody else through. And I was just really immersed in sales culture and thought, the way you have all taught it is garbage. Like, everything you told me to read on the script, everything you told me to do in the store didn't work. But the way I did it worked. And I just found that throughout my career. And I've always had this love for doing sales in a way that feels like me, that doesn't take me out of who I am or what I think or believe or how I want to feel, but also follows the right steps to get people to the end goal. So I know that was a really long answer, but I think it's important that, that's how my story was shaped by getting into jobs and not liking it and not being good at it and turning it around and being determined to find a way.
Gosh, I love this. Oh man. Okay. It's wild how here you were, you had this job, you were told all of these things to do exactly. You did none of those. You did it your own way, and you were just like the rainmaker. This is amazing. Okay. So now take us to now. Now here you are as a sales expert. How did you tell us? What do people do? Like, how do people hire you? How do you teach everyone? I gotta know.
Yeah. Well, the thing about sales, and I tell people this all the time, nothing I teach is revolutionary. Sales is sales. It's been the same for many, many years, right? For decades, centuries, however you want to look at it. And I think what's most important is that I teach sales not as much as I would love to, not as something to love and enjoy, which is where I started, trying to get people on board with like, love it like I love it. And then I quickly found out that no one's going to love it like I love it.
Yeah.
So I can't sell the love of sales, but I can sell the skill of selling in a feel-good way. And so after many years and hundreds of clients and training thousands of salespeople, I really took a look at the data, which I am a little bit of an interesting mix of masculine and feminine, because I love looking at data when it has a purpose. I don't love just looking at data and crunching numbers all day, but if I have a purpose in mind with it, then it's very exciting and fun for me. And then on the other side, I'm very creative and spontaneous, and I feel the vibes and I go with the flow and like all of that. So I have the blend of like left and right brain, and I put those things together where I took all the data that I had learned from working with so many hundreds of clients across almost every industry. I mean, I've had clients who are fashion designers in Hawaii and Australia, and I have had clients who sell goat milk soap out of Alaska, and attorneys in Texas, and coaches in Chicago, and like it's all over the map. And I realized like I don't know what makes all of these people want to work with me. I wasn't really understanding like what's that through line, and that's kind of what kicked off the research phase. And then as I started digging into it and realizing how I was coaching them and talking them through the sales process, I'm like, there's a really simple framework in this. And it's less about the framework and more about how I teach the framework.
Ooh.
So I decided, like, I created the framework to guide the conversations, and then I created my own method of teaching that framework to my clients. And then after creating several group programs and doing one-on-one coaching and all of this different stuff, I just came to the conclusion, you don't really need a lot, and you don't really need to spend a lot of time with me. Once you get it, you get it. And for some people, it takes a day, and for some people, it takes a year. And so I just created a program that you buy it once and you get it in perpetuity. There's office hours every week for asking questions, doing role plays, getting feedback, but you get my core frameworks and how I teach them in that program. And people learn at their own pace, and they come in, and some people will ask, like, I have a sales call later today. Can we do a sales, demo or role play? And I'm like, sure, let's do that. And then other times they'll be like, I'm doing 3 follow-ups with these people, and I have like screenshots of what I've sent them and what I'm thinking, and here, or I have this proposal that I'm thinking of putting together, and we work on that. So it's a variety of things. Sometimes it's intake and qualification. Sometimes it's follow-up process. Sometimes it's on the sales call type of coaching. Sometimes it's just like your sales flow. Like, there's one person in the program who said to me, we reworked the sales process to remove a little bit of friction that was bad friction and add a little bit of friction that was good friction. And he's like, I went from 1 in 5 people booking calls to 100% of people booking calls, and they're all great quality leads. So these are the small differences. It's not like you have to overhaul your whole business, but they're little tweaks. And that's why I have a really simple way to work with me.
Oh my gosh, so much. Without me even knowing it, you just gave us a masterclass in not just sales, but how to build your offer. So everyone everyone listening here loves data. Like that's our jam. We are data nerds to a T. And so I love how you took a step back and you're like, okay, what is that throughput? What is that theme? And then what I also loved that you said is, you built this offer that feels very much so in integrity with who you want to serve, how you want to serve them. And I just want to give you a kudos on that, because we don't hear that all the time. And so, like, just well done.
Thank you.
Would you be open and tell me if this is secret sauce, to share a framework? Like, how are you thinking, just to give people a taste to see if this is something that they would be interested in?
Yeah. Well, and again, it goes back to, it's less about the framework, because if I were to share a framework, which I'm happy to do, it's sort of like telling someone buy shoes or like make a cake, right?
Oh,
And
got it.
I'm telling you, like, I put flour in my cake and butter and eggs and sugar, but you don't know like the highest quality flour to buy, or when to add it to the mixture of butter and sugar, or like what temperature to bake it at, or for how long. So it's like, I'm happy to share, but again, I don't find it very helpful usually when I share what the framework is, because the secret sauce isn't actually the words, it's what's behind them. It's what's fueling them.
So say more about that. Do you have to get into a certain mindset in order to? Oh.
It's not anything to do with mindset. So this is where, like, I think a lot of people get hung up on things like mindset, which there are times in my community and office hours where someone has a down day, right? Or like they're not, and I'm here to support, right? If they need to work through that, or if I'm noticing something, I might be like, let me just pull on that thread and see if there's anything there that needs to be cleared up in this moment. But a lot of the time, what a good framework will do is make your feelings less of the equation.
Without a doubt.
So when your mindset isn't 100% there, but you really believe in your offer and you know how to sell it, it doesn't really matter how you feel that day. You could be off or on or up or down, and you just show up. So to give you an example, because I know people are probably like, what are these frameworks? So one of them is my signature framework. We'll start there. So it's the BUILD framework, BUILD. And I'm a big fan of acronyms because it's easy to remember them.
Absolutely.
So the first part of that framework, the B stands for build rapport. Okay. Most people are taught a certain way to build rapport. What do you think building rapport looks like as an example?
I would find something we have in common and chit chat about it.
Okay. For how long?
5 minutes. Are we on a sales call?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 5-ish minutes.
Okay. And then what would you do?
Then I would probably frame the conversation. I would transfer it to try and say something witty to then frame it into, okay, this is what we're going to talk about today.
Okay. So everybody has a different answer to this question, obviously, because we're all trained differently or learn different things or sell in different ways. So for me, rapport building is like 30 seconds. It could be that's
amazing.
Right?
Oh my God, I am doing this all wrong.
But it's no more than 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes would be the max. So for some people, they're like, oh, I love that part. Like that's the part that I really lean into and I want to do a little bit deeper of a dive there. That's okay. As long as you're good at the other 4 parts and you can move through them quicker. Right? And so like each person has, so we don't just build rapport for the sake of building rapport or build it for 5 minutes because that's how much time we've allotted in the process. We follow our natural inclination to do it in the way that we do it, right? So that's part of it. The next step in my process in the framework is the U, which stands for understand their needs. So I don't frame sales conversations in any type of way. I don't go like, so what challenges are you facing right now? Or, what made you book this call? Or like any other traditional sales questions you might lead with, or just to give you a heads up on how this conversation is going to go, I'm going to start with discovery and then I'm going to move to this and then we're going to agree on terms and this is going to happen. Like that's how a lot of people are trained to sell, which automatically, what do you think that triggers for the prospect?
A sales call. It feels...
Their guard immediately goes up.
Yes.
They get tight in their chest. They're like, oh no, it's happening. Even though they've opted in. Right? Even though they need the thing.
It's happening. That's so true.
Oh no. Right. And then their guard is up and they're like, I know anything they ask me, they're going to try to get in and they're going to try to figure stuff out. And then they're going to try to flip it. And, even if you're not thinking this in a conscious way, your subconscious is used to being sold to in so many ways. And so it's the same reaction you get when you go to a car dealership and someone walks up to you, hey, how you doing? You look at, and even if they don't say, can I help you? Are you looking for a vehicle? What are you looking for today? You're like, this person is selling to me. I don't want to be involved. You're like looking away. You're not making eye contact. You're pretending to have a conversation or get a phone call. You're doing all the things to avoid it at all costs. And so that's the same thing that happens with that discovery process. Is we frame it or we make it feel uncomfortable. And in mine, you just flow right into the next set of like, well, I need to understand what they're looking for so that I can decide if my offer is even a fit. And there's a way that I teach to do that. And so like every part of the process, it looks different between how I would sell your offer and how you're selling your offer. But the way I teach it allows you to do it with a similar feeling and a similar intention and a similar expression of those qualities you're looking for and the environment you want to cultivate and all of those beautiful elements that make the sales process really feel like you. And it's special. It's not like let me, just tell you to ask these questions or do these things in this order. It's very natural, but you have to learn it and then you have to do it and practice it, which I think a lot of people also miss is that opportunity to practice selling with feedback. Like a lot of people, there's the rare person, and I will say there's been a couple people in my program that watch the training video and instantly get it. And we do a demo and I'm like, you're ready. That's it. I have no thought. I have no comments. Like it's very,
no, it's perfect.
They're just great. Not selling in the way that I would sell, but beautifully executed. And then there's other people who are like, I get it. I watched the training. I am exceptional. I love myself. This is wonderful. And then we do a demo and I have like 3 pages of notes and I'm like, I have so many thoughts. And then we go through the feedback and this is the beauty of a good sales demo. I think I pitch their offer back to them. So they
Ooh.
pitch to me, then I pitch back to them. And they get to experience the framework in action from someone who knows how to do it, because I built it and I've done it a million times. And then they start to see the differences. They experience them as the prospect, and they're like, oh, that's what I've been missing. And then they get the replay so that they can watch it back and test it. And then we have AI tools that allow them to role play themselves in between sessions so that we can do this very specific process in this way. And they can ask me for feedback via chat, and I'll watch their sales calls and give them feedback and all of that with the framework in mind. So there's a lot of practice happening as well.
I really love that. And the way, so I know how powerful that can be just by training a salesperson. So at Prowess, I was and have been the salesperson on the client side of the business since the beginning. And as soon as I started training someone and hearing them pitch me, I was like, oh God, the script I gave her is a disaster. And that's all on me. Like, there's no way she could have been successful saying that. So anyway, I absolutely, like, I'm bought in, I get it. Like, I totally understand why that is so, so, so important. Okay, so we got
Can I ask you a question there? So when you gave that script, was that what you were saying, or did you write a script for her?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
It was actually, no. It was a script for her because as the founder, I can always answer the questions because I know all the answers.
Yeah.
So I don't need as much guardrails as someone who doesn't know any of this.
This is sort of the problem I see a lot, which is, it's interesting that you say that, because it's just like the person who's out there saying, I built $1 million empire or a business that does millions of dollars per month or whatever, and like, I'm going to give you my blueprint. But I've actually hired coaches who have gotten to those milestones to help me with my business. And they would give me the blueprint that they were using. And I'm like, but I've watched you on social media. I've read your emails. I've bought your program. None of what you've given me is actually what you're doing. And it's very interesting. They think like, well, what I was doing was good for me, but like, if I had to redo it, here's what I would do. Or like, if I were to make it better, here's how it would be. But the thing that got you here is not that thing. And so when I started, this is where I got a little bit like, I'm going to say jaded about the coaching industry.
Sure.
Is that a lot of people would start to go, well, I have this method, and then they would try to like productize their method, and they would add things to it and remove things from it or miss things that they were doing because they were just like unconsciously doing them because they were just part of their day-to-day thing. And then they would release it and nobody was getting results. And the reason why wasn't because they didn't achieve the goals. They really did achieve those goals, but they didn't think about those little details. They didn't do the exercise we talked about earlier where I combed through hundreds of hours of coaching calls and picked things out before AI was there to just read all the transcripts and spit out some result. I manually went through and I thought about how I was feeling, and I thought about the steps that I took, and I reread some of my past emails, and I looked back at all my social media posts, and I really gathered and compiled those things. And I think it's so important. It's not that, you know, when I first created group programs, it was when Facebook groups were all the rage, which I think they're still popular, but I wouldn't grow my business that way today.
Right.
And so somebody in my program was actually asking this because she teaches travel. She sells luxury travel, and people are like, well, how are you selling all these luxury travel trips? Like, I want to be able to do the same thing. And she's like, Justine, I've been using these frameworks to sell my coaching practice, which teaches people how to sell travel. But I'm wondering, how do I apply these frameworks to my actual travel business if I wanted to go back and like start over and have cold leads coming in and do all of this so that I can do what my clients are doing now?
Yeah.
And my response to her was surprising to her. I said, you've earned your place where you are today. And if you went back and looked at what you did to build this business versus starting from scratch today and having to learn a whole new process, I think you get a lot further, a lot faster. And the skill you need to hone is no longer lead gen, because you're actually really good at that now. It's learning how to teach someone what you did. So the best skill that you can give yourself is not actually doing the work over again. It's going back and teaching yourself how you did it the first time, dissecting the actions. And let's just say you use Twitter and you're no longer using Twitter, right? Think about that from a higher standpoint. Like, I was using social media. Okay, how did I choose Twitter? Well, at the time I really liked it because I didn't want to do graphics. I just wanted to share my thoughts. Okay, now how do you teach people how to think about finding their platforms? And once she started shifting into that way of thinking, she was like, oh, I don't actually have to go rebuild my business in a totally new way from scratch. I just have to learn the skill of teaching others and how to dissect that. And since then, she's closed $25,000 in sales in just a couple of weeks. And her clients are thriving because she's actually taking the time to decipher, what did I do and how did I do that and where did I go and what was I thinking? And even me just saying to her, you're selling yourself on your own practice as well. Like, this is an extension of sales coaching, is me helping her see what's most important for you to be able to sell this offer in integrity, to deliver exceptional results to your clients. Because I tell people, more than I could teach you how to sell anything to anyone. And that's actually a really dangerous skill, because when people have really bad offers, I'm not controlling the fulfillment side as much, right? I'm really focused on the beginning phases. Right. So to have my clients also trust me for the fulfillment and the long-term nurture and sales on the back end of a business, like, that's another aspect that I really love to see, is thinking about the business from now they're in. How do I sell them on themselves? The ideas that I'm cultivating, myself as a facilitator, the next steps of the process, maybe an ascension offer or other ways to increase lifetime value of a customer. And these are all sales conversations.
Without a doubt. And what I really loved what you said was, the answer isn't teaching people to use Twitter to do thought leadership. The answer is, how do they like to do thought leadership, and what channel is going to be most in alignment with that? I think that is huge. And so, given our audience are typically more introverted,
Same.
Yeah, introverted, oftentimes, like, I would say probably on the quieter side, not going to shine a huge light on themselves, love to be in the back, like getting their hands dirty. How would you share with them to give them permission to figure out what works for them?
I think what's most important is that they recognize who they are first. Like, do they know that they're introverted and quieter, and they have this recognition of, I want to still sell? Or are they seeing, like, I'm introverted, and so I guess I just have to suck it up and sell boisterously like everyone else I'm seeing? Or, like, kind of where is their head at? Because to me, not everybody is meant to be the salesperson in their organization. Like, there are just some people. I'll give you a perfect example. This woman I met a few years ago, brilliant woman. She created this incredible tool that essentially takes, like, a version of binaural beats, and she built this app. So it's like calming musical tones.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
Okay, got it. I'm back.
So these calming musical tones at different frequencies and, hertz and all of the things that an engineer would know about. And I know nothing about, but I can somewhat.
I didn't even know what the term was. So you're doing better than me.
So she created this magical thing, right? And she's like, I have this vision of seeing this in every psychotherapist's office, because I feel like it's such a great app and such a great tool that every practice needs to have access to this tool. and to be able to give it to their clients. And so I'm like, I love this. I think it's a brilliant idea. And as she's talking to me, I'm like, her personality is very engineering. Like if we were to put, two people in a room and say, which one's the engineer, and you talk to her for 30 seconds, you would know it was her. Right. And I'm just like, she's not the salesperson. She will never be the salesperson. She is the person who, when you ask how was this app developed and what technology did you use, she would have all the answers for you, but not the front lines person. So I wanted to prove, because she was like, I just don't know if the idea is good enough. I don't think that, people are going to buy this, but I really want to sell it in this way. And I'm struggling. And I've never done this before or since, but I said, I'm going to cold call someone for you, because I think I get enough of this product. I get the idea, the concept of it. I think I could sell it. So I put her on mute. She was on Zoom. She could hear me on the phone. And I just Googled like psychotherapists in my area, and I clicked on one and I called. And this actually just kismet worked out. The universe was working for me that day. So I called and it was ringing. I'm like, this person's not going to pick up. And then at the very last second, this woman picks up. It turns out she was the owner of the practice. We had a call. We had a conversation for maybe 15 minutes. And I told her the price. I told her what the offer was. And she was like, I would love to have you send me a formal quote and proposal. I want this in my practice. I want the therapist in my practice to be using it. This is smart. It's brilliant. I've actually been looking for something similar based on the way you've described it, like everything. And we got off the call, and that was a $5,000 sale. And in 15 minutes. And the reason that I wanted to do it wasn't like, I'm so good at sales, I can close people like really fast. The point was, I wanted to show her, I see what you see, except I have a skill that you don't have. I can actually sell it, right? And you don't need to sell it. You need to find someone who can sell it. Now, I'm not a salesperson for hire, so it wasn't going to be me. But to have the recording, the proof of concept, to be able to hear the words, this is exactly what I've been looking for, to have language and framing, and to hear the questions that she had about it, which some of them I could answer and some of them I didn't have the capacity to answer. And I said, I'm going to connect you to the lead developer. She's going to be able to walk you through all the pieces, whatever questions you have about it, like she will be on the next call, and like handed it over. Right. But that's another great example of, if you're the shy person or the introvert, or however you identify, the quieter one, salespeople are not loud by nature. That's just what you've been programmed to see. That's what you see other people modeling, but I'm not a loud salesperson. I don't get on a call like, hey, how are you? That's not, sometimes I might be in a really good mood and my energy's higher, but usually when I get on a call, it's pretty chill. It's like, we're just having a conversation. So if you decide I want to be the salesperson and I'm an introvert, the biggest thing for you to manage is just your energy and making sure that you're doing really good pre-qualification, intake, making sure you're getting the right people on the call so that you're not spending all day on sales calls with people who aren't a fit, and also learning how to filter quickly so that even if someone looks good on paper, we've all had those people, but are not actually a good fit, you can filter fast for those people so that instead of a 30-minute sales conversation or however long your sales calls are, you go down to 5 minutes. And once you do those filtering questions and you decide like this person actually isn't a fit, you don't have to waste 25 minutes depleting your energy with the wrong person. You can have really good, and this is where scripting is helpful, really good scripting to be able to cut the conversation at that point and be like, what I'm recognizing? I actually know someone who might be a better fit for you. And it's probably not, a good fit here because of these reasons. And it's like breaking up with someone, but once you practice, you get really good at it. So you just have to have the awareness of who you are and what you want to do. Do you want to be the salesperson? And if so, then you have to work on that skill and find your way of doing it. And if you don't, you have to accept that and learn the aspects of your offer and why they need to be sold and how to communicate them, because you are the CEO of the business or you are a leader in the company, and every leader should know every aspect of the business. But once you have that baseline knowledge, outsource it, delegate it.
So it's interesting. Most of our ops people, they are solopreneurs, especially to start, right? Everyone is. So most of them cannot or don't outsource their sales. But I love what you said, because what I heard you say was gather all the information so that you're confident to have a call and you're just talking. And then once you continue to grow, if you do want to pass that off, delegate that to someone else, that is absolutely possible. But then also it came to mind, like, the more you get comfortable saying, hey, I'm not a fit here, but this person may be X, Y, and Z, and then you create partnerships with that person, all of their people who aren't a good fit may be a good fit for you, and then there you go. You're almost salespeople for each other, so it doesn't feel as salesy. It's truly solving the problem.
And that's just one model. That's just
Right.
one example to say, I know someone who could be a better fit. You might not know someone who's a better fit, but you might also know this person's definitely not my person.
Right.
And so, I think there's so many examples of where, and I do have sort of and I'm curious about this because I don't know that I 100% have deepened into this belief yet, but I do feel like a true entrepreneur really does well as the salesperson. Like, there's a lot of people who create the business, who love the work, and who are really great at client relationships and networking and like all the things that you have to build your business with those. And say they have a block about sales, or they've seen it done a certain way, or they're modeling after a way that doesn't feel good to them. And they just have this belief, oh, sales is that part's not for me. But as soon as I hear someone who claims to be the quiet one, who claims to be the introvert, who says, I don't like sales. And this is, by the way, I have a podcast that's called Why You Hate Sales, because everyone I talk to has these bad beliefs about sales. And we spend the whole podcast reframing beliefs like, oh, you just need to be more yourself. You just need to be more visible. And those are not helpful, right? So like, what does that actually mean? How to do it? Or people saying, you're not bad at sales. And my thing is, well, if you think you are, then you probably are. And that's okay. It's actually better that you don't try to bury that thought and you bring it to the surface and you figure out why and you dig into it. Because so many people are like, I'm not bad at sales, I'm just learning. And then they spend their whole life learning and never getting good at it. So I think there's a lot of those missed opportunities. And that's, something I think about a lot is that if you say you're the introvert, the quiet person or whatever, and that you don't like sales, but you then in the same breath, you say, but I really enjoy networking, or I really love having dinner with my friends, or I really love having conversations with my partner, the red flag goes off for me. And I'm like, then you're probably really good at sales somewhere.
So yes. And this is something that Leah says quite a bit. Just really what a sales call is just problem solving. It's just figuring out, do you have something that could potentially fit them, or uncovering what their problem is. And then you be like, hey, is that something I can or want to solve? And when you frame it that way, it doesn't feel icky. It doesn't feel like I hate sales. That actually makes me curious and makes me excited because I'm helping people.
I think what's important is to find your way of framing it. And that's one really good way, is sales is just problem solving. One that I really hold near and dear is sales is just helping someone make a decision.
Yeah.
Or, sales is just a conversation that's rooted in curiosity, like genuine curiosity. And I think, a lot of people, one thing that I say about sales a lot is sales and selling is not about convincing people to buy what you sell. As much as you've been shown that or taught that or whatever, it's about meeting the people who were already convinced they want it. Like, I don't want people booking calls with me and me having to describe why sales is important. Like, I shouldn't have to say that to a prospect, right? I shouldn't have to defend frameworking a sales process to someone. I'm like, why should I learn your framework? It's like, you picked me. Like, you opted in. It's all over my website. This is how I teach sales, right? And like, some people, well, what if I want to just run ads and make millions in passive income? I'm like, well, first of all,
good luck.
there's no such thing as passive income running ads. It's a full-time job. So you're going to have to find someone for that. And usually the people I find who are the most curious about passive income are the ones who are never capable of making it. And they spend their whole lives pursuing this idea of something versus the people. There are people in my world who have been very resistant to passive income in terms of like, I know nothing's passive. I know everything takes work. And I don't really want to open up another can of worms over here or over here. One of them being an interior design client of mine. And she's a brilliant designer. And like, people pour into her network. They love her. She's great at what she does. She has what we have deemed an unreasonable number of 5-star reviews on Google compared to all the people in her area. Like, she is brilliant at her job. And she's like, I just can't keep up with all the, you know, day-to-day actions to like get these leads in and filter them and put them to the right place. And I'm like, maybe it's time to run ads. And now that's what she's doing, where it's like, that was not her intent. Her intent was not, how do I run ads to build leads in my business to try to make millions of dollars? It was like, I have a process that's working really well, and I want that process to work even better for me, which means conserving my energy, using the right keywords, getting the right team to support me, all of those things. And I think it's really important to check in any aspect of a business, like, what's the motivator behind this? Is this like, I'm doing it because things are going so well that I want to do it better, faster, with less effort or sacrifice? Or am I thinking everything's not going well? This is my hope and pray moment that if I just do it this way, it will be better. And I can tell you from owning my business for 11 years and teaching sales for almost 20, it's never better that way. I have tried all the ways and they are all hard. I'm the poster child of like chasing failure and failing up and all of those things and learning the hard way. Like, you don't want to do it.
Oh my God, I love it. We are already over on time, so I apologize. I was not good at all about time management this time because I was just enjoying the conversation and learned so much. Justine, this was amazing. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at sellwithjustine.com. You can look me up on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook at sellwithjustine. I have my podcast, Why You Hate Sales, which is whyouhatesales.com. And I also host monthly speed networking events where you get in a room with 60 plus people every single month. Half of them are new, half of them are returning. We have really good conversations that are intended to put you in the best light in front of your best clients, collaborators, partners, friends in business, things like that. And you can find out more about that at monthlyspeednetworking.com.
Thank you. This has been wonderful. I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, thank you
if
so
you'll
much.
have us.
It was, of course, I love spending time with you. I wasn't watching the clock either. It was great.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And we will see you back here next week. Bye, y'all.